Cause we way too high for you. Tripping like we got too much on. But they got love for us. Cause we staying all night long. Yo, when we walk in the club, you better believe we know what's up. Got these girls all in a trance. Throwing bands and then the dance.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another rendition of the Bros in the Berg podcast. I'm your most esteemed co-host, Ryan Doyle, joined by my friend of the backwards hat in the Panthers Stadium, Robbie Bergstone, and the man in the glasses, the man with the plan, the man that makes this podcast tick, my younger brother, Connor Doyle. We appreciate you joining us tonight, this morning, this afternoon, however you're listening to this podcast. We're recording this on the evening of September 5th, half hour before the kickoff of the first NFL Thursday night game between the Ravens and the Chiefs. Lots of excitement, lots of buzz, a lot of fantasy football talk pre-recording this podcast. So, we're excited to bring you this introduction, this podcast, and everything else that comes along with it. But Connor, what are we starting off first tonight?
I just want to say first, have we ever been more back than this moment right now?
I mean, no.
I physically don't think we've ever been more back.
Football
is back. Yeah, we got football
back?
for the next 4 days. Actually, 5 days. There's a Monday night game. We got football the next 5 days, fellas. We're back.
It's crazy. We are so back. Gentlemen, we're going to start with something that's not on the outline here, but I want to hear from the man in the stadium. Robbie, do you have a record prediction for the Panthers this year? How are you feeling about the team? I just want to get some thoughts from our resident Carolina Panthers fan.
Yeah, so I've been in full-on cope mode pretty much all offseason, and the cope has resulted in this, Connor. Let me tell you where the cope has landed me.
Oh, no.
I don't care about the Panthers' record. I just want to see Bryce Young look like an NFL quarterback. That's where I'm at. That's the mindset going into the season. So inevitably when they somehow start 2-0, get my hopes up and go like 4-13. Also come crashing back down. But I just want to see Bryce Young develop in terms of a record prediction. The ceiling is 7 wins. Like there's physically no way this Panthers team wins more than 7 games. Like I just don't see it. I do think they can win 6 games. I think they can go 6-11 this year. And that's going to be my homer prediction.
Who's y'all's AFC conference do you get the joy of playing this year?
I don't even fucking remember. This is not based on our schedule.
Cowboys win total was knocked down a peg by having to play the AFC North. It's just tough draw.
Robbie, some would call your prediction of the season or your outlook depressing. What would you say to those people?
They're right, but it's also North Carolina sports. So we have the AFC West.
Okay.
Which is doable. I mean, outside of the Chiefs, who are going to boat race us. That game's at home, though. That game's at home off a bye.
Hey,
Shock the world.
Shock
the world. I'm just saying. That's not a bad draw in the slightest. So
having a 34-year-old Adam Thielen as your wide receiver 2 hurts.
Whoa. Is he going to be wide receiver 2 for the entire season?
He's on the depth chart currently at wide receiver 2.
To be fair, I still think Adam Thielen can be a respectable wide receiver 2. He's just not able to be a wide receiver 1 that he was last year.
Correct.
You just need him to be there to catch the occasional 5 to 10 yard ball that you need to get a first down. That's all you need.
He's an intelligent route runner.
Exactly.
He was a very good receiver in Minnesota. He's just a little slower, but
I'll tell you exactly
you need on a young team.
I'll tell you how the receiving core is going to go. Deontay Johnson's going to see the most targets because he is the most talented receiver on the roster. Adam Thielen's going to see the second most, and you'll have Xavier Legette will kind of be a wide receiver 3, but by the end of the year, he'll be eating into both of their targets. I think
that's the correct take.
I don't think he's going to be there at the beginning, but I think by the end of the year, it'll be Deontay 1 and Legette 2.
Legette becoming a little bit of a social media star with some of the interviews that he's doing.
I love him. Just based off of the way he talks, I want to die for that man. But
Ryan, let's swing it over to you, our resident Dallas Cowboys fan. What are you thinking? How you feeling? Where do you think we'll end up?
So we got the Doomer prediction, and we have what I think the team is talented enough to do. Like I kind of alluded to, we do have the AFC North that we drew. So first, let me just read off the first 7 games. We're at the Browns, home against the Saints.
Should be a win.
Home against the Ravens.
Probably
at
lost.
the Giants,
Win.
at the Steelers,
Probably
home against
lost.
the Lions, at the
Lost.
Niners.
You could start 3-4. I don't think that's like.
I think
impossible.
a reasonable prediction is like 4-3 is kind of like what I think is. I think Doomer wise, Cowboys have the capability to go 1-6 and lose every game with the Giants.
It's not impossible. Yeah,
it's really not impossible. So I think Cowboys probably end up 10-7. That might be good enough for a wild card spot. We're going to draw the 2 seed and get boat raced by 3 scores.
Mediocre as ever,
the Eagles winning the division this year? Is that your prediction?
That's who's favored. I can't really argue
right?
with ESPN on that. I think it's Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants as God intended. I think it's pretty simple. As long as the Eagles don't go 1-8 down the stretch that they did last season. So, all right. That's what we got.
I think that's relatively a fair prediction. We'll see. We'll see how the season shakes out. If Dak is able to, Dak had a very good season last year. To give him all the respect that he deserves, and he's got CD back, which was F Jerry Jones for taking that long to make that happen, and he's got Ezekiel Elliott back. Yeah,
he got his favorite guy. Is Zeke not one of Jerry's favorite Cowboys players for the last 10 years? I think he has to be.
Probably.
Zeke's good for the locker room, and I like that his contract's mostly incentive based. The dudes like him around there. I have no problem
I think he's still a fine goal line running back. If you just need him to go get you 2 yards, just hand him the ball and let him walk forward, kind of deal. It'll be fine. One last thing before we move on from our favorite teams, fellas. Cowboys at Panthers, December 15th.
On the books.
I'm just saying.
Might have to make a trip.
The Cowboys do have 4 running backs on the 53-man roster.
That's crazy.
Zeke, Rico, Dalvin Cook, Deuce.
Wait, I thought Dalvin was going to be on the practice squad.
I also thought he was on the practice squad.
Apparently, on ESPN, he is listed as 3rd string. He's ahead of Deuce Vaughn.
When they signed him, they said he's going to be on the practice squad. Maybe that was just weird camp shenanigans.
I'm just reading what I see here. I also thought he was practice squad, but who knows?
Interesting. All right, we're going to get into some of our outlined segments. And our first thing, gentlemen, it's washed or not. It's a fan favorite. It's a podcast favorite, but it's washed or not with a little bit of structure around it. Earlier, it was about a month ago or two that there was an article that was posted with the top 15 washed NFL players according to the amount of social media posts that were made about them being quote unquote washed. So we're going to go through these individuals one by one, and we're going to give our ruling on if they are washed or not. Do you want to go from 15 to 1, or would you like to go from 1 to 15?
15 to 1. Yep.
15 to 1. We have from the Seattle Seahawks, Jamal Adams. Washed or not?
He's washed.
I mean, here's the thing: is he going to be the old Jamal Adams? No, but I almost want to give him the injured, not washed category because he has been in and out lately. Is he going to be the same level of player that he was a few years ago? No, but I wouldn't say he's fully washed.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. Number 14, we have from the Washington Commanders, Zach Ertz.
Washed.
I love Zach Ertz, even as a Cowboys fan. He's had a good, serviceable long career, but
of course,
the dude's buns now.
So Sanat will be the starting tight end for them by the end of the year.
I will say he was serviceable on the Cardinals for they needed him for
until McBride really came in and took over.
Yes, but Father Time is undefeated. I mean, it's just what it is. Unfortunately, that's just how it works.
Correct.
Number 13 from the Philadelphia Eagles, Julio Jones. Washed. Washed.
Yeah, might be the most washed player in the NFL.
I'm gonna be honest, didn't know Julio was still on the Eagles. I thought that was a one-time thing, and I just found out very recently that he was still there this year. Definitely washed.
Julio Jones has one of the biggest fall-offs I remember in recent memory.
We were having the debate not too long ago. Ryan and I were in one of our group chats of who the best receiver of the 2010s were, and it was really between AB and Julio. And it's crazy to think that wasn't that long ago, but that was the debate. It's do you want AB or do you want Julio Jones?
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
No one's arguing that. But it seemed from one season to the next, he's still a top 5 receiver to does he like start in your fantasy lineup kind of thing?
As soon as you didn't have Matt Ryan, man, as soon as Matt Ryan was not the starting quarterback for the Falcons anymore, just off a cliff.
I did watch a video today, which I found hysterical. It was a Julio Jones chase down of tackles, like highlight reels of Matt Ryan interceptions. It's like 30 different picks Matt Ryan threw that Julio chased down. It's like a wide receiver having his own like chase down highlight reel was pretty funny.
Now I need to know what wide receiver in NFL history has the most tackles.
That's a good question.
That's such a good trivia question.
Also, briefly apologize. He is a free agent currently. I missed this. This was from when he was, a few months ago.
I would have been pretty surprised if he had made the 53 man.
No,
yeah.
he was not.
Number one, in case you're curious, is Matthew Slater. He had 139 tackles in his career.
That's all special teams.
Yeah, someone said I did think about most of it was probably special teams. The top name you're going to know on here is Larry Fitzgerald, his 21st.
Yep, I knew it was going to be Fitz. Yeah,
Larry had 41 tackles in his career. And that's all on offense. Bro was not playing special teams.
Wasn't there a stat one time that was going around, and I don't think it was true, but there was a stat where people were saying like he had as many tackles as he did career drops or something like that.
He has more tackles than career drops.
That is insane.
That
is insane.
That's GOAT stat right there. Like if
I don't
you're
know if that's
ever
100% true,
if he's Hall of Famer, like you just read that stat off, and like that's it.
The most dependable receiver you could think of.
All right, next we have on the Washed or Not list, we have from the Kansas City Chiefs, Carson Wentz.
More like Carson Washed, am I right?
Oh, I didn't know he was on the Chiefs. Does that make me a casual?
I didn't either. I had no idea either. Nope, right there with you.
That's crazy.
I mean, would you ever qualify Wentz as like elite? He was very good at one point.
If he doesn't get hurt that season that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he probably wins MVP. Like, he was on that trajectory. He's having a great year until he got hurt.
Yeah, probably not wrong. So. Number 11 from the Dallas Cowboys, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just running backs, man. Like, that's just, he's not that, doesn't seem like that old, but there's such a short shelf life.
And number 10, his partner in the backfield, Ezekiel Elliott.
Love seeing the entire Cowboys backfield on this list. That's good stuff.
Number
Dalvin's 29, by the way, and Ezekiel's also 29.
I would have guessed they were both like 31. That's crazy. The shelf life of an NFL running back is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty not great. Number 9, we have from the Miami Dolphins, Odell Beckham Jr.
Ben washed.
Yeah, he had. Well, he played well in the Super Bowl, and then with the Rams, and then he fell off a cliff, which he had already kind of fallen off a cliff.
Is he the most overrated receiver of the last 7 years?
He might
man's career has been carried by that one catch. He's been a good receiver, but like his career has been carried by that one. He's also
just kind of a dick. I mean, there are two things that I remember from OBJ. It's the catch and the fucking 3/4 long soap opera that he had with Josh Norman.
Yeah. You're also forgetting about the boat picture. The boat picture is an all-time OBJ moment.
I forgot the boat
picture. All-time Giants moment, actually. Get the first round bye, take picture on boat, lose the next round. That's an all-time Giants moment.
It was pregame in Cancun, man. He was just getting his space tan ready.
Why did he even come back? Should just stayed.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 8, maybe one of the more ones we can have more of a discussion about from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Mac Jones.
Not washed. I just think
I don't know if he can be washed because he wasn't ever that good.
But
he's also not that old.
He also had no help on that New England offense. No. Like that New England offense has been bad since Brady left, and like not just because Brady left, because everyone else left. Like he had nothing to work with, and that's I think they're gonna start. They're not starting Drake May because the offensive line is so bad. Like, he's going to just get thrown back there. He's not going to be able to do anything. He's just going to get sacked constantly. Hendrickson's going to literally eat them for lunch on Sunday.
They literally thought throwing fringe starter wide receivers out there was going to work like they still had Tom Brady. Like, no,
correct.
It's not the same caliber.
Like, obviously, like, Brady didn't have great receiving cores at times during his career, but the one they had the last few years has made those look like all-time elite wide receiving cores. Like,
he always had somebody who we like Edelman, like Welker, Gronk, like somebody that was like
Randy Moss for a little bit.
Right. So
Yeah. Going up on this list, we have from the back to the Kansas City Chiefs, Juju Smith-Schuster. Probably washed. I mean, he's 27
2 or
and he
3
hasn't really
years
done
now.
anything. Yeah.
I don't
He's
know if he's
another one
been
that,
hurt. I think he was hurt at one point, but like
he's another one that really only had like one good season and then has not really ever replicated said good season.
Yeah. Well, he also went go ahead.
Connor.
I said he also went to New England of Death with
Yes.
Mac Jones, and so it was like his career died right there.
He had like a Pro Bowl season, and then like started doing like a bunch of TikToks and like stuff like that. So he got a lot of like popularity, and then kind of shit the bed. I think kind of got hurt.
His career ended that night that he danced on the Bengals logo and Burfict took his head off. Like that's when his career like really went downhill.
Yeah. Number 6 we have from the Denver Broncos, Zach Wilson.
Can't be washed if you were never good.
I agree. Oh,
also part of just being on the Jets, but like he sucked.
Yeah, he was
like
real
Jets
bad.
fans would have rather had Sanchez, and I don't think it's close.
Or Darnold.
Yeah, and he's also now the third string in Denver behind Jared Stidham. So yeah, and Bo Nix. Yikes.
I will say there was an interview with Stidham and Wilson.
I saw that.
And Wilson was like just stoked to be there. He's like, I'm still on an NFL roster.
Yeah, but I'm still collecting that paycheck, bro. Like I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
He's on the Alex.
Stidham's like, I'm still, I'm good enough to be a starter in this league. I'm like, bro, when? Like not
and
once
where?
have you been good enough.
You're not in the CFL, right? You're in the NFL.
Right? Next on the list we have number 5 from the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott.
I
don't think Dak Prescott is washed.
That's insulting.
He's not washed.
He's still a top half QB.
He had arguably his best season of his career last year.
Yeah, the only reason he's on this list is because he plays for the Cowboys.
Yes, I think that's the worst take on this list. Bro.
No, the next one to me is worse.
If Dak didn't have a star on his helmet, people would constantly be arguing if he's like a top 10 quarterback.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Number 4 from the Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa.
In what world? Like world do you watch football? If you're sitting there behind your phone tweeting Tua is washed, I just know you haven't watched football in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like you just haven't been paying attention. Blasphemous.
The only thing informing that like opinion is you saw like the back-to-back or 3 weeks where he like smacked his head off the turf.
Tua also would not be on this list if he was right-handed. People hate lefty quarterbacks.
I think it's more to do with like Dolphins frustration, like Dolphins fans' frustrations more than anything. Like they want them to be better, and because the team hasn't been better, they blame the quarterback for them not being better.
For sure.
I think we could also put some blame on the Dolphins defense. Like,
oh yeah, 100%. But like, no, I agree.
Things that could be improved. Like Tua's very, very serviceable.
No, that's what I mean though. Like with the fans, their first train of thought is, "Oh, it's got to be the quarterback's fault."
And it's a good point. The picture of him with like his arms up is also, I think, ingrained in most people's minds. Like that season where he just kept getting concussions.
Number 3 from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson.
I mean, he's washed, and what does that say about Justin Fields? Like, what does that say about Justin
Apparently,
Fields?
Wilson is having issues with the calf injury. Is now questionable to go week 1.
It's Fields time, baby. It's Fields time.
So the thing is, it's always been Fields time.
It never wasn't.
Number 2 from the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce.
No.
He was
just
tight end 1 last how many seasons?
He's on this list because he's dating Taylor Swift. Here, we can call this one out too. That's why he's on this list.
We know all the reasons that the guys are on the list, and some of it has nothing to do with football. I mean,
correct.
Case in point.
Correct.
And number 1 from the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers.
I want to call this one up in the air because I think this season is going to decide if Aaron Rodgers is washed or not. You can't call him washed after playing 2 snaps last year.
Yeah,
literally. I just can't make that call.
Yep.
I need to see him play this year.
Yeah, no,
he's old. Like he's definitely getting up there in age, but
we've seen
Brady
quarterbacks in this league can play a long time. Like Breeze got up there too. Like you can, if you're a good quarterback, you can play in the league for a long time. I don't think age affects it all that much.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, so that was our little washed or not segment. We're going to move on.
I like to throw in like a thought to be washed honorable mention.
Do we need to throw in some guys who missed the list who should have been on there?
No, I'm throwing in one who like a couple years ago absolutely would have been washed. By the way, who should have been on that list? Michael Thomas. He's but he's not actually on it.
Austin Eckler.
We talked about him before though.
So
that's the other reason.
Baker Mayfield thought to be washed.
Not washed.
No,
I don't think
Baker's
he was washed because of the
I'm
Panthers.
saying you thought he was washed.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
It
was more in Carolina. It was definitely more in Carolina.
And the man just completely revived his career.
You know who revitalized his career? Dave Canales. Guess where he is now? Carolina.
We should do that as like a bracket or something. Best career revitalizations, like in sports. I think that'd be like they have a bad season.
That'd be a hard one to put together, but I believe in you. You can use ChatGPT again.
I get it. We're going to move on here. Still sticking with the NFL for the time being. Two headlines real quick. Patrick Surtain II and the Denver Broncos have agreed to a 4-year extension worth $96 million and $77.5 million guaranteed, becoming the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. No surprise here. I mean, obviously, arguably the best cornerback in the league, definitely top 5. So I mean, there's no surprise here from the Broncos to shill out the money.
Like the Broncos defense is going to be good again. I feel like they're always good, but like I think they're going to surprise some people that kind of forgot about them.
Absolutely. And then next we have a year after making the cut to successfully resume his football career following a near-death experience, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin reached a new plateau in his comeback and being selected a season-opening starter on Wednesday. So a huge shout-out to Damar Hamlin for being able to not only play football again, but become a starter on an NFL team. I just thought that was incredible. So shout-out to Damar Hamlin.
I'm so happy for him to be back playing because I felt so bad from last year because they showed him every Bills game, which was cool. Yeah. But he hated the fact that they were showing him not in pads on the sideline, not playing like that. He wanted to complete that comeback, and now he has. And I think it's really incredible for him. It's really cool.
I'm going to be that guy. That just says the Bills fucking suck. He is a borderline starter at safety. There was a reason he was not starting 2 years ago, kind of thing.
That's right.
That's sick. I'm so glad he's playing. But the Bills defense is going to be really bad this year.
Yeah, it is. The offense might not be much better outside of Josh Allen.
Moving into our Week 1 NFL preview, as Ryan stated earlier, the NFL starting tonight. We do our NFL stuff a little differently than we do our college football stuff, just to give it some variety. So as where we do kind of a 5-game pick'em on the college side, we tend to go with over, unders, and spreads with the NFL. Just because it's something different and it's a little unique and it allows us to talk about multiple games in kind of a different context. I have picked one game for a spread. I have picked one game for an over-under. Gentlemen, do you mind if I go first?
Please go first, but I was going to throw out there that I will keep track of this year. Last year we didn't do a good job of keeping track of our picks. I will keep us honest this year, very similar to the college football picks. So go ahead, Connor.
My first pick, I'm going to go with the spread matchup here, and it's maybe not one that is an immediate kind of pops out at you, but it's one that I put some thought into. The Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans are currently favored by 3. I think the Texans cover this. I think that the Texans are going to be very good this year. Obviously, there's a lot of concerns about Stroud having kind of a sophomore slump. I think that because they upgraded their positions, especially their offensive positions with Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins and Tank Dell are just going to get better. I think that there is less pressure on Stroud to perform to where he has to be less of a playmaker this year and can focus on just getting his playmakers the ball. So there won't be as much of a regression. Also, fun fact, gentlemen, the Indianapolis Colts haven't won a season opener in 10 years. So
that is a good step. That's a good step.
So I'm continuing on that trend, and I think the Texans take that one and they cover 3.
I almost picked that one as well, Connor, and I backed off just because of my concern that everyone is hyping the Texans this year, and I was worried that all of a sudden they would lose their first game and people would be like, "Oh shit, what's happening?" That was my entire thought process why I didn't pick that one. So I do like that pick.
Who would like to go next?
I can go. Are we just doing the spreads first or the over-unders?
We'll do spreads first.
Spreads first. So, and this one's interesting. I think it's the biggest spread on the board. but I do think it's the biggest mismatch in talent. I think the Bengals at 8.5 against just a really bad Patriots team. I think the Bengals have a lot to prove this year. I think Burrow has a lot to prove this year against a sorry New England secondary. Now, I will say this line will move if Chase doesn't play. There's
Yes.
like obviously some like question marks about that. If Chase plays, I say Cincinnati by 8.5. Obviously, the line will move if he doesn't. It probably drops below a touchdown if he doesn't play.
I would agree.
But if he plays, I take Cincinnati.
I saw Burrow said this was his first camp that he made it all the way through like healthy too. So he's like coming into the year with like a full training camp under his belt. Actually played the whole time. So I think he's due for a big year. I'm going to go to the what I believe is the second biggest line here, and I'm actually going to take a team. This third is the third biggest line. I'm going to take a team to cover. The Broncos at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by 6 points. I'm not sure the Broncos are going to win this game, but I would not at all be surprised to see this be a field goal game. I don't think either of these teams are overly good. I think the Broncos with Sean Payton in a second year have a new quarterback. It's not washed Russ anymore. I think the Broncos cover 6. I see this being like a field goal game either direction.
I like it.
Yeah, no, I like it too. I think that's a good pick. There were some interesting ones this week. I think just because Vegas and the first game this season, they're kind of being conservative with the spreads. They don't nothing too crazy that you're seeing right now. They don't really know how everything's going to shake out. So, Robbie, do you want to swing it back on the over-under, or do you want me to go on the over-under?
I can go ahead. We already talked about one of these teams' defenses being really bad earlier in the episode. And this is one of the higher over-unders this week, but it's two really good offenses and some really, really bad defenses. You got the Jags and the Dolphins, the over-under set at 49. That's an over. That just screams an over me. Both of these defenses are awful. I think that's a pretty easy over.
Yeah. Ryan, you want to go?
So I thought you were going to take a different game.
Okay.
Talking about bad defenses. I'm also going to take the over, but I'm going to take the over in the Buffalo-Arizona game. That's currently at 47.5. I think, the Cardinals got better and the Bills offense got a little bit worse. But I still think this game can easily hit 50 points with both of these teams. Yep. So that's my pick.
I'm going to go. Actually, I thought y'all were both going to take my game, and you didn't take my game. I'm going to go with the highest over-under line of the week, which would be the Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions at home. I think it's currently at 52.5. I think it's going to go under. I'm the only one going under this week. For some reason, these two teams to me kind of scream first week jitters. I don't really know why. It's just kind of more of a gut feeling than anything. But I feel like because they can be such high-powered offenses. I mean, you've got Stafford, Kupp, and Nakua now, and obviously with Goff and Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, there's a ton of firepower there on offense. I just feel like it's going to take both these teams a little bit to get into their groove. And so I don't think they're going to score as much this week as Vegas thinks they are. So I'm going to, because they can still, 52.5, you can still score a decent amount of points
for sure.
Hit the under there. So it's like I'm gonna hit the
and
under.
It's two
there.
pretty solid rushing attacks too, which usually brings the under into play as well if they're both running the ball a lot and all of those things. So
yeah,
I think it's a good pick.
Before we move on from that, are there any games you wanna point out and mention just in terms of the matchup?
I had a fun stat to throw out there. This was a week one trend fading kind of thing. Since 2000, the loser of the Super Bowl has had a tough time getting over its hangover, quote unquote, week one. Super Bowl losers are 10-14 straight up and 5-19 against the spread since 2000.
No, that is interesting.
Which is the Niners, and they have the privilege of hosting the Jets.
I would not be surprised if the Jets. I would not be surprised if the Jets win that game, at all. I would not. That would not shock me in the slightest.
San Francisco is a 4.5-point favorite at home, so it definitely should be an interesting game. I will be watching that one.
I do think Cowboys Browns is a good game as well. I think it should be very entertaining. See if Deshaun Watson can get back on track after a pretty abysmal year last year.
Hope he doesn't.
Other games.
I don't know how to bet that game. couldn't tell you.
I have no interest in it.
No.
Steelers at Falcons, I think, could be very interesting, especially if Russell Wilson is out and you have Justin Fields in. We could see Kirk Cousins, your boy Connor, for the first time in a Falcons uniform.
Two teams that had some of the worst offenses last year that have new coordinators, new quarterbacks, like new schemes. It's going to be a very interesting game.
It's interesting because it's new quarterbacks and new coaches, but the same skill position players. Like neither of them have changed. I guess Darnell Mooney on the Falcons. But it's about it. Like the skill position players are very similar. I guess Deontay Johnson no longer being in Pittsburgh, so it's now the George Pickens show. But should be interesting.
So we're going to move on from the NFL real quick, and we're going to get into a little bit of Major League Baseball and
that's
our
still
resident
going on?
expert. Unfortunately. Our resident expert, Ryan, here is going to take us through the standings. Ryan, tell me why the Rangers are so damn bad, because it makes me sad.
Hey, Rangers are 7-2 in their last 9. I don't want to hear that. They're keeping the mathematical hopes alive.
They're only 8.5 out of a wild card spot, Connor. I'm going to need you to check yourself.
They're better than the Reds, who I think have dropped to 9 back. Have won 4 straight.
They're closer to winning the division than the wild card because the Astros have a worse record than the Yankees.
They beat the Yankees last night.
The Reds beat the Astros today.
All right.
Back
Put my tinfoil hat on real quick. This is who the Rangers have left. Just let me cook.
Please cook.
They have a 4-game series with the Angels. They kind of suck. Weird 2-game series with the Diamondbacks, a little revenge World Series type beat. Then they have a 4-game. Yeah. Then they have a 4-game with Seattle, a 3-game with Toronto, 3-game with Seattle, and they finish off with a 3-game in Oakland and a 3-game against the Angels again.
We do have an easy schedule for the rest of the year.
We do have an easy schedule, but
we're bad.
I'm coping. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of coping because the Astros still have a pretty easy schedule.
Yes.
But I digress. They're not mathematically eliminated yet.
Hey, we're not the Chicago White Sox. That's all I'm going to say.
So I was just gonna get to a fun fact about the White Sox. Last I heard, there were 2 teams that have a losing record to the team on the worst record pace in baseball history, at least in the modern era. They can't be the Cleveland Spiders. One of them being the Cleveland Guardians, which is funny because they're leading the division. But last I checked, they had a losing record to the White Sox. You want to know the other team that has a losing record to the White Sox this year?
Please.
The Atlanta Braves. The Braves lost a 3-game series to the White Sox. They only won 1 of the 3. So
that's real embarrassing.
It's a tough scene. It's not great. But I thought that was a fun fact. Anyways,
we'll let Ryan run us through.
Yeah, let me do that for you guys. So we're gonna throw it out to the AL East. And those damn Orioles are once again in first place with the Yankees losing to the Rangers last night. They have a half-game advantage. It's going to be a race to the finish line. The rest of the teams in the AL East are more than 10 games back in order: Red Sox, Rays, and Blue Jays. Over out in the Central, Guardians hold a 4-game lead over the Twins. And you have the Royals, who have had a very good season, actually only 4.5 back, going to be flirting with a wild card spot. Tigers, and then the Chicago White Sox, who we mentioned, who are mathematically eliminated at 32-109, and have lost their last 9 of 10.
The Royals had tied the Guardians not too long ago. They had a 4-game series, and the Royals won the first 3 and actually tied the division, and then have gone 3-7 in their last 10.
They lost 7 in a row. It was kind of brutal at one point.
Yeah.
The entire division is within 10 games, and the White Sox are 48.5 games back.
Correct.
Hey, but they won their last one, and that's what matters.
Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving to the AL West, the weakest AL division this year, you have the Astros with a 4.5-game lead over the Mariners. The Astros are 75-65. Rangers are 8 games back of the Stros. A's, honestly, 61-80, not a terrible season for them after kind of last season. They are above the Angels once again. They are coping. Angels are 58 and 81, 16 and a half back. Yeah. The fun fact about the Central, the only team that has a negative run differential is the White Sox, and it's minus 303. Moving to is that a fun fact?
No, it's not. It's definitely not a
at
fun
all.
fact.
That made me
Subscribe.
sad, and I'm not even an Angels fan.
Move to the National League. We have I guess they're not leading anymore. The Philadelphia Phillies at 83 and 56, 7 games up on the Braves. Honestly, the Braves are hanging in there.
For the amount of injuries, the Braves are having a fantastic season with all the injuries that have occurred.
I would have to agree. The Braves are a half game over the Mets. And you got the Nationals and the Miami Marlins, the next team that has been mathematically eliminated at 52 and 87.
Going to be so pressed if the Mets knock the Braves out of the playoffs. Anyways.
The Mets. Moving to the Central, we got the Milwaukee Brewers at 81 and 59, 9 games over the Cubs. Game over the Cardinals. You got the Reds at 68 and 73. Followed up by the Pirates at 65 and 74. Pretty disappointing season for the Pirates. I think at one point they were second in the division. Really have fallen off. Lost, like their bullpen has been one of the worst in baseball, blown a lot of saves, just giving up a lot of late game runs. Fun fact, with the Reds being 5 games under 500, they actually have a positive run differential at plus 21. So have just lost games big and won games close.
That's interesting.
Moving out to the NL West, we have the best record in the MLB, Dodgers, sitting at 84 and 56, followed by the Padres at 4.5 back, the Diamondbacks at 5.5 back, who I think will be a wild card team. I think they're the second wild card team this season.
They are. The Padres and Diamondbacks are pretty far ahead of the Braves and Mets, who are not closely behind, but just behind.
Then you got the Giants and the Colorado Rockies, who is currently the third team that's been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs at 51 and 89, with a lovely minus 217 run differential.
It's tough.
Quick question. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani on the Dodgers, an incredible hitter. Obviously, he hasn't pitched this season, and he won't pitch this season after recovering from his surgery that he had. Do you think Shohei Ohtani will be the GOAT? And if so, when will that happen?
The GOAT,
will it?
All time?
Of baseball. Yeah, of baseball. Yeah. Do you think that will happen?
He's got to win some World Series.
Yeah. And probably
he's 30. I mean, he is 3-0. He's got to win. He's got to win some Cy Youngs. He's got to win some MVPs. He's got to win some World Series. Like calling yourself calling somebody the GOAT. There's got to be all the accolades, personal, team, and one of the big things I think modern day baseball is going to struggle with, especially from the starting pitching side, is the lack of starts, lack of longevity. Like you're not seeing guys throw complete games anymore. You're seeing guys throw 5 to 6 innings. They're pitching at most once every 8 days. There's just so many less opportunities for Ohtani to pad those stats, climb the all-time leaderboards. I think he has a better chance as a hitter, to climb in some of the home run totals, see his WAR go up. It's going to be really interesting. I don't think he has the ability to become a GOAT. I don't.
He just started so late in the MLB is the problem. When he played in Japan, you just get such a late start. He is currently minus 2,500 odds to win the MVP this year in the NL.
But
that's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Does that holistic view, even without the accolades, because obviously there have been so few people who have been able to pitch and hit, and obviously nobody ever at his level, I don't care what you say about Ruth, he wasn't hitting the ball like Ohtani is. Do you not think that puts him in kind of a category of his own where maybe he can be separate from the accolades? Because it's he does, nobody ever has done this.
So I hear what you, let me just have this, Rob, and then you
Yep.
I hear what you're saying, Connor. The thing, baseball is very much looks at longevity. That is one of the biggest things that baseball stat nerds will look at is how long can you do this for, how over time, how consistent. I think that with we talked about him getting a later start, having some of these injuries, being on a really shitty team, I think a lot of those things he has working against him.
I would be interested. So he already has 2 MVPs. I think he's going to get a third this year, barring Francisco Lindor going nuclear the end of this year. If he were to like keep winning some MVPs and maybe pick up a Cy Young somewhere, so be somewhere in that has 4 or 5 MVPs and also picks up a Cy Young at some point in his career, then maybe he sneaks in that conversation, especially if the Dodgers keep winning at the rate they have been. Maybe, but I mean, he's got to really start. He's got to go get hot for the next 5 years until he turns 35.
Yeah.
Win a lot of awards, win a lot of World Series, all of those things.
I was starting to think about, just because I was thinking about like the GOAT conversation, and then I started thinking about the big 4 American leagues, and I started thinking like of the GOATs of the American leagues, who's the GOAT of the GOATs, and it's got to be Gretzky, right? Like it kind of has to be
Gretzky or Brady.
I think it's Gretzky, because Mahomes is now approaching that conversation more and more. Like he's not, like Mahomes is not above Brady, but I feel like people are in the back of their minds, Mahomes is getting close to where it's like,
because the MLB is probably the most hotly debated one. Like I think the other 3 are all pretty set in who the GOAT is. It's I guess you could say LeBron, but
LeBron or Jordan.
That's the hottest
one, yeah. But it's it's Gretzky, it's Brady, it's probably still LeBron. I'm going to say it's Jordan, just for the sake of historical argument. LeBron is still playing. I feel like it's hard to say you're the greatest of all time in a sport while you're actively still playing. That's going to be my argument. And then who is it for baseball?
Baseball is the most hotly contested one. There's not a consensus on GOAT for baseball.
Baseball is also like the eras of baseball are so different. Like basketball is different, football is different. Like baseball is a different sport between time periods.
Yeah, I would agree.
Correct. And you also have pitchers versus like hitters and like positional players. Like there's
fielders,
an argument for GOATs for
so
that.
Different.
Honestly, Rob, I really do think Mahomes will potentially be the GOAT when all's said and done.
I think it's very possible.
Especially if the Chiefs three-peat. I mean, he is 28 years old.
I think he will.
Like, I think he if Andy Reid coaches him for the next until he's like in his mid-30s, and they just draft right around him. I mean, he has his center is like a third year dude. Highest paid center in the league. Like he has all the building blocks around him to absolutely be
for sure
the GOAT. So I think that ones will be super.
I mean, he's already top 2. Like
I agree. I think he's 2.
I think that's pretty easy at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Moving to the next thing, we're going to get into college football. We're going to talk a little bit about college football, a little bit of review, a little bit of preview. Know what I'm saying? Robbie, do you have the results from this past week?
I can get them up quickly. I know who won, but I can get you some scores, Connor.
It wasn't.
The results of our predictions. I do have those.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
I want to throw out there for all of our viewers that Connor is feeling really good about his picks, as he should have been. He was 4-0 through Saturday, got all the games on Saturday and Thursday night right, and he was talking that good shit. Good shit. And sure enough,
really thought that LSU.
Sure enough, he missed the Monday night game.
Dude,
USC won.
Brian Kelly.
And so Connor with a great week though. Connor won 4-1 this week. I believe he picked the favorite in every game, so not really a bold 4-1, but we'll still give it to him. Come on. Ryan and I made all of the same picks last week because why not? We went 3-2, so not a horrible week from us. But. It was a solid week last week for the boys. All positive.
Y'all were talking that good shit about Miami, and then 41-17.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Florida had won 37 straight home openers.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's kind of wild.
They just went in there and shit the fucking bed. Florida might win 3 games this year. They have the hardest strength of schedule. Yeah, Napier's toast.
Napier's a dead man walking. He's a dead man walking.
Or is Miami just the ACC champs? Like I predicted.
Dude, the ACC is going to be
like I predicted they would be.
Bad. They're going to be
like
so
I said
bad
it
this year.
I said it. All right.
That conference is going to be so
abysmally
bad this year.
So bad. Going over some of the results. I'm going to go, just because it's the first one that I see, I'm going to go with the homer pick. Oklahoma State beating South Dakota State 44-20.
That's a good win.
That's a solid one.
Gentlemen, I'm going to say something to you right now, and it's not anything crazy.
In the
Connor,
4 years, what I want to say to you, what I want to say to you is you might want to save your Oklahoma State rant for when we pick games. So I'm going to say.
Good point. That actually is a very good point. 44-20, good win by the Pokes. I'll go more in detail.
I put a game in there just for you, buddy. I
appreciate
games
it.
in there just for you.
Georgia 34-3. This was the least surprising thing I've ever seen happen. 34-3 over Clemson.
Here's the one thing that all the dudes on this podcast said 14 or whatever it was, free.
17. We
Free
did
money.
17 at
Absolutely
least.
free
money. Dude, I mean, shout out to the Clemson defense. The Clemson defense actually played very, very well. Obviously got worn out because their offense literally couldn't do anything.
Yep.
Cade Klubnik sucks. I don't know how he's the starting quarterback of what's supposed to be one of the best college football teams or one of the best college football programs in the country. Yeah. Dabo Swinney is officially on washed watch. Like, he's officially on washed watch. I want to put him on there.
Is his seat hot? Is Dabo's seat hot?
No, his seat isn't hot, but I would not be surprised if Clemson has a bad year this year, if this is his last season at Clemson, and he might move.
Yes, I agree.
I would not be surprised.
Him, but he's going to maybe on the seat.
If it goes like it did last year, he clearly needs a change of scenery, and so does Clemson.
Agreed to part ways, like something like that at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's fair.
So another game, we're going to go through some of these, but one that I just have to mention. Iowa beat Illinois State 40-0. When is the last time you saw the Iowa Hawkeyes put up 40 points?
Did you see what the score was at halftime? Did you see what the score was at halftime? It was 6-0, Connor.
6-0. Nice.
I had the quad box up, and it was like Georgia and Clemson, and then Iowa and Illinois State were both 6-0 at halftime. I'm like, what a great fucking opening slate of games here, ESPN. This is fucking awesome.
I think I saw Robbie text. He's like, I'm going sicko mode and watching Iowa.
I was feeling in a sicko mood.
Oh, Jesus.
For the Bama homers here over Western Kentucky, 63-0.
I hate to complain about winning by 63 points, but
jeez.
Here's what I'm saying. I texted Ryan this during the game. The offense didn't look comfortable. They played fine. Obviously, a lot of this new offense is a lot of motion, a lot of misdirection, and they didn't look comfortable doing that. And it didn't matter because Western Kentucky is not very good, but they didn't look like they're ready to do it at game speed yet, which I guess is good that we're kind of working our way up to Georgia. But
I will say, I think Western Kentucky is potentially better than South Florida. Western Kentucky's was picked before the year to finish second in the conference. They're not a bad group of 5 team. They absolutely can beat some of the lower Power 4 teams. Their offense is their better part. They're definitely weaker on defense, but the explosive plays. Ryan was 17 years old. I mean, holy fucking shit, dude.
I also think TJ Finley was seeing ghosts a little bit. I think he was seeing some of his ghosts against Alabama for sure. He had that Sam Darnold mentality. He just didn't. He didn't look right.
Nope. He got pulled pretty early. The next guy came in and didn't do a whole lot. But I mean, shutting out your opponent and winning by 60 in the first week of at FBS school, can't really complain about that.
I wasn't complaining. I was making an observation. Let me clarify.
Next games to talk about. They did win, but it was a bit of a concerning win. Oregon over Idaho, 24-14. Not as strong as some people are predicting. The easy Big Ten champs to come out.
Brother, if you don't show the score and you just look at the box, you don't understand how Oregon only wins by 10 points. It's kind of crazy how that happened.
Yeah, we're not picking it, but Oregon has a very interesting game this week. They get Boise State at home.
Ooh, that's
Boise State running back.
That's a fun
last
game.
Week went off. Ashton Ginty. If you haven't been paying attention to him, watch out. I think he's gonna be a legit NFL running back.
I know I said I'd save it, but did y'all see any of the Oklahoma State game?
No.
Did not.
Dude, Ollie Gordon.
They wouldn't show it at
first
the fucking bars.
So he ran for 3 touchdowns, and the last 2, or maybe no, he ran for 2, and I think he caught one more. He caught a third one. The first one, Rob, you know how he said you say he dribbles people's heads off the ground.
Yeah,
I've never seen him. It wasn't a dribble, but I've never seen him truck someone harder in his life. The dude rebounded off him. He stuck his arm out, and the guy went flying 7 yards.
You literally used the force and just shoved him 7 yards.
Dude, it was insane. And that was for his first touchdown run for 20 yards. It was ridiculous. So yeah, let's go to the next game here. Notre Dame over Texas A&M, 23-13 in the contest of who can lose week 1 more.
Connor Wegman is bad.
Bad.
Like,
Yeah.
Very bad.
I mean, I think the Notre Dame secondary played very well, so I think they'll be good this year. But oh my god, it was. I saw a stat that I don't remember what his QBR was, but like if you played an NFL game, if you played an NFL game and just went out and spiked the ball every time, you'd actually have a better QBR than what Connor Wegman had.
Let's run through his stats real quick. 12 for 30, 100 yards, 2 interceptions. Yikes.
That's bad. That's really bad.
Real bad.
And Notre Dame still only won by 10.
Yeah, I know. Hey, they won though. They got the dub. That's all that matters.
You know, that's just not how you want to start it out. Elko wants to start it off down at College Station. That's just
especially
tough.
against his old quarterback too.
Now they get a rebound game against McNeese State, but I think the following week they go to Gainesville. Imagine they trip up against the Gators.
Holy shitter bowl for the SEC.
Yeah, it's a toilet bowl. Mark the calendar.
We got a few more to talk about here. The only reason I'm going to talk about this one is because it was real spooky until the end there. 30-10, Michigan beating Fresno State. Michigan having to put up 17 in the fourth quarter to win this game. Kind of spooky.
Michigan's winning 8 or 9 games this year.
Dude,
This is the
they
correct
didn't look
take.
good. They did not look good. And then we have to talk about it. It's what everybody's talking about. Florida State starting out 0-2, losing to both Georgia Tech and Boston College. Holy crap.
I just cannot believe that Florida State's trotting out a used car salesman at quarterback.
I just can't believe you're a Florida State fan and you're like, we got DJU, that somehow in your mind you convinced yourself that DJU was going to be the guy. Now, did I think they'd go 0-2? No. But there's no way DJU is leading a top 10 team. It's just it's not happening.
I'm not going to defend DJU. He played poorly. I'm not defending him in any capacity. There were numerous times in the Boston College game that receivers just dropped balls.
Absolutely.
Like multiple times.
They've also gotten absolutely dominated in the trenches in both of those games.
They have no O-line
and Georgia Tech, and
they have no O-line.
And their defensive line was supposed to be one of the best selling points of their team, and they haven't looked very good either. I mean, people are just running the ball over them. Both Georgia Tech and Boston College said, "What's a forward pass? Let's just fucking run it down their throats," and they did. Like,
yeah. So
it is. It's kind of like I can kind of excuse an overseas early matchup against like Georgia Tech, who was supposed to be a much improved team,
middle of the pack ACC.
Fringe top 25 team, depending on how the season went. Like BC at home. I mean, after like having all the fuel in the world of people like talking shit about you, like how overrated you were, and you go lay that egg. Holy fuck!
And they have a bye this week, but they get Memphis in 2 weeks, which is not an easy
3
out.
is absolutely
It's on the table. It's on the table.
And you know that Florida State has no confidence in their O-line when their leading running back had 3 carries the entire game. 3 carries.
Boston College had 5 individual players with more rushing yards than Florida State had as a team.
Correct.
I think it was 21 rushing yards for Florida State.
Yep.
And 275 plus for BC.
263, yeah.
You cannot give up 250 plus yards at home against a team you're favored by 2 schools
Boston
against. You
College.
just can't do that.
Yeah,
Bill O'Brien led Boston College.
Bill O'Brien. Yeah.
Let him go.
All right, that is it for week 1.
I have one more. Call out one more.
I know which one you're calling out.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Oh,
beating
sorry.
The Virginia Tech
I missed
Hokies. Well, Virginia Tech has been a sleeper pick for the ACC just because they brought back one of 22 starters. Vandy looked good, man. Vandy looked good.
I was like,
shout out the Doors, man. That was a big win for them. That was cool to see.
At one point, Virginia Tech had a 90% win probability, favored by 2 touchdowns, and apparently, fun fact, the guards at the student section had to stop letting Vandy students in because apparently what they do is they just like you can just go up and like scan your ID and they let as many in as they want.
So bad.
Yeah, right. They can't get folks into the game. But they were maxed out. So
that's awesome.
Let's go Commodores.
Really cool. Yeah, for real. Yeah, sorry about that. I was on the top 25. I missed that matchup there. But let's move on to week 2. Robbie has selected 5 games for us to pick in the spirit of kind of making things interesting. So Robbie has given us 3 of the games that we've had time to think about beforehand, but he's going to surprise us with 2 of them. So we got to think on our feet a little bit. We got to think on the spot and make a pick on the spot. Robbie, which one would you like to start with?
Connor, I want to give you your moment in the sunshine here, my friend.
Oh yeah.
We have Arkansas State visiting the aforementioned, Arkansas visiting the Oklahoma State Cowboys in Boone Pickens this weekend. Yeah. Connor, give us your thoughts on this game first. I want to hear what you have to say.
In order to give my thoughts on this game, I'm going to give a little bit of my thoughts on this past week's game. We had a good showing versus South Dakota State. In my 4 years here, we have never had a more polished game 1 than we had this past week. I've never seen the team look as good in week 1 as they did in this past week. That's not to say they look perfect. Bowman still struggles from that 10 to 15 yard range. He still overthrows the ball a little bit. There were some missed defensive cues, and I understand that, but I will stand by the fact this is the best that we have looked my entire career here at Oklahoma State University.
The defending FCS champions, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
And 29 games, 1 in a row. That's correct. Absolutely not a slouch opening game.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I'm very happy with how the team looks. And, gentlemen, I made the prediction. I got to stick with the prediction. I acknowledge Arkansas had a great week 1. They had a huge win in their week 1 performance. They're an SEC team. We can't expect them to come in here and lay an egg. Even though they're a, quote unquote lower echelon SEC team, they're still in the SEC, and we have to respect that to a certain degree. They had a great week 1. We had a great week 1. I'm sticking with the prediction that I had at the beginning of the year. I think the only regular season game that we lose is to Utah, so I think we beat Arkansas here at home, and I don't know how much it's going to be by, but I do think we managed to pull it out in the end.
I'll go next.
I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
Couldn't agree more. I think Oklahoma State wins this game. Arkansas. I mean, they had a good week last week, but I don't remember who they were playing because they were really bad, and really had no business playing Arkansas. Yeah, I think Oklahoma State wins. I do actually think Oklahoma State might be the more talented team in this game, which is probably weird to say, but I do think they're a more talented team. I think they get it done at home.
Yeah, I agree. The game opened at 7.5 in favor of, it opened at 8.5 in favor of the Pokes. Has moved to 7.5, so a little bit of money flowing towards the Arkansas cover. Offensively, I think the Pokes are absolutely the better team. I think if they can cut down on some of the explosive plays that they gave up to South Dakota State, I think they will absolutely keep Arkansas in check. I think they win this game by 10 points, and I think they win relatively comfortably.
The biggest thing I'll say from this past week, Trey Rucker did not piss me off, and that's pretty amazing because I hate Trey Rucker. He won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week because the one thing I'll give Trey Rucker every single day of the week, he is a phenomenal tackler. He is a phenomenal tackler, and I'll give him that every day of the week. But he didn't get burned this week, and I was kind of impressed. So we'll see what happens in the future.
Next up is one of the games you guys don't know about, but it is a personal favorite of this podcast, especially in these early season games. We have the battle for the corn, El Asico. We have Iowa State visiting Iowa. So in Iowa City this year. Everyone's favorite rivalry, El Asico.
I love this game. Let's go.
Ultimate sickos football.
Robbie, why don't you lead us off for this one?
As Connor mentioned, the Iowa Hawkeyes, fellas,
40.
they have an offense apparently.
Put up 40.
Cade McNamara looking all right. Obviously started off slow, but I think they get it done. I don't think this Iowa State team is overly good. Iowa with an offense is scary, and granted, like we said, they didn't start off great, but Iowa with an offense can make some noise in the Big Ten. I'll take the Hawkeyes.
I'm going to go with you, Rob. I honestly think it's a little disrespectful that they're only favored by 3. I think that's a little disrespectful, to be totally honest.
It's a rivalry game.
Yeah, and I get that, and I get Iowa has no offense, and even one game doesn't necessarily disprove that theory. But they're ranked 21 because their defense is legitimately typically that good. And if they have any sort of offense behind them, then this Iowa State team it shouldn't be that good this year. So I got to go Iowa.
You know what, boys? I really wish I could mix it up. I just don't think I can.
There's a lot of shitty games this week, unfortunately. There's really just not a lot of good ones.
Iowa is the better team. If you're a guy who's a fan of college football defense, the line here is 35.5. I think we flirt directly with that line. I think Vegas knows what they're doing.
The under is somehow in danger. Somehow.
Iowa's favored by 3. But yeah, I think I take the Hawkeyes here. I don't think Iowa State's as good as like the last couple of years.
No,
and I think Iowa's better than they were last year. So I take the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I'm taking the cover. I think Iowa covers.
Yep. Next up, we have the other surprise. We already talked about how bad this team looked this past weekend. And they're hosting a G5 team that's been known to give some trouble to the bigger schools. Appalachian State visiting the Clemson Tigers this week.
I was looking at this earlier.
This is spooky.
It's a spooky game for Clemson.
Oof.
We'll let Ryan go first.
Yeah,
so you can't just follow all of our picks this time.
Yeah, you know, I want to be quirky. I want to be fun.
Yeah.
I think Clemson, 31-point ass kicking is a wake up call. And I think Clemson knows that they still can win the ACC with like Florida State laying eggs and all this shit. I cannot go for the Nears. I think they cover. I think 17 points is a lot for Clemson to win by. I think it's too much. I think Clemson does in fact win at home.
I also so deeply in my heart want to pick Appalachian State. I really do. But they've lost that like thing where no one's expecting them to win. Like Clemson is going to know like we are better than them, but they absolutely could come in here and win this game. I do agree with the cover though. I could see this being a touchdown football game, especially with how bad the Clemson offense looked. I think Appalachian State's going to have a lot of trouble moving the ball. They're going to have to rely on some turnovers and some other weird things to keep themselves in this game. I do think Clemson pulls it out in a close one.
Also, I think 52.5 is too much.
Yeah, you're just assuming that Clemson's putting up 40, I think.
Yeah. And I'm not. I think we take the under and App State to cover.
Yeah.
Not so
he's going to do it
fast.
He did it.
I'm so glad he did it.
Gentlemen, because the rest of the week for me is chalk. I think I'm gonna have a little bit of fun here. I think I'm gonna go against the grain. I don't think it's gonna happen, but just for the sake of predictions, just for mixing it up, I'm gonna go with Appalachian State here. The funny thing on ESPN when you read the headline, it says number 25 Clemson and Appalachian State both look to keep the CFB hopes alive early in the season, which I think is kind of a funny headline.
Technically, the only team eliminated from college football playoff contention is the Kennesaw State Owls because they are not eligible for the postseason this year. Because of the new format, technically everyone is still alive right now, which is great. That's like it gets rid of this whole you lose a game and you're basically out unless you're Alabama or Georgia, right? I think that's a good thing. But
so I'm going to take Appalachian State just for fun, just so I'm not all chalk this week. So, yeah, and Clemson, honestly, could actually lose this game.
Yeah, 100% could.
So, there you go.
Next up, we got the first of the 2 ranked matchups this week, and there's only 2. We have the Tennessee Volunteers going to Raleigh, visiting the NC State Wolfpack, who didn't look great last week. Tennessee looked pretty damn good. NC State looked pretty damn bad.
My ACC pick.
Sorry, was Connor right? Again?
Oh, it is week 1. It is week 1. I would.
And then it'll be week 3 and week 4, and I'll still be right. So that's all you need to know. Are we? I guess I'm going.
I got it. No,
Ryan's got it.
So this game opened at -4. It's already swung like 7 points in Tennessee's favor to like -11. There's some fuckery going on. Not sure what's happening. But they're playing in North Carolina. I pick them to be my ACC champs. You think I'm fucking picking them against them week 2? You're out of your goddamn mind. Wolfpack win by 2 scores against the Volunteers.
Book it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Ryan. I think everyone is so all over Nico's dick, and it is disgusting to me. They played Chattanooga last week. They played Chattanooga last week. Jalen Milroe put up comparable stats against Chattanooga last year. They're not a good FCS team. Why are we convinced this guy's the next coming of Christ? First game on the road in his career in Raleigh, gonna be hopping. Wolfpack win.
All I know is that West Carolina was tied with NC State at half in week 1.
Listen, it was a weird weeknight game, man.
For a reason. It's a
weird weeknight game, all right? Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
And Tennessee looked real good this past, like
against the Mocs. Their name is literally the Mocs.
I don't care.
They're not a real team.
I'm going to go with Tennessee. They were one of my dark horse CFP predictions. So similar to these guys who have predicted NC State as their ACC champs, I've got to go with my later season prediction at this point. So I'm going to rock with the Volunteers, even though much to the chagrin of the 2 Alabama homers across from me.
The last game of the weekend, undoubtedly the most anticipated game of this weekend, the Texas Longhorns visiting the Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor. I'll go first.
Yeah,
it's Texas. It's always been Texas. Michigan does not have a chance in this football game. They just don't. Are not going to win this football game.
And I'm kind of frustrated with myself because this game opened at -4. That's free fucking money on the Horns. What was I doing?
I'd probably take Texas at -13.5. To be completely honest with you.
Oh, I don't know about that. No, I totally agree though. Like, there's no this. Like, I don't think it's as bad as Georgia Clemson. I don't think it's that bad, but it's I think
it's a 2 touchdown game. Like, I really do. Michigan
Texas
lost so much. I just don't see how they compete with the Texas team that was just in the college football playoff. That obviously Michigan won. Let's get that clear. But
of course,
Michigan lost a lot, and they don't have Jim Harbaugh.
100%.
I think Texas wins it easily.
Quinn had a very solid week 1. So yeah, I think he continues that role. I think they I agree. I think they win easily. I don't know about by 14, but maybe. But I could see probably by 10. I don't know about 14 though.
What do you guys think about 42.5?
I could see that going over.
I think it's a decent line. I don't think it's bad.
Because I could see like 35-17, something like that. Like,
do you really think they're gonna get beat that bad?
You think they're gonna get dog walked in Ann Arbor?
Yeah, you think they're gonna? That's crazy.
I'm fucking here for it. Like, I want both of them to lose.
Yeah, as much as it pains me to pick Texas and say they're gonna win a game easily, I just don't see it, man. I really don't.
So yeah, thank you, Robbie, for picking those 5 games. Typically, week 2 is kind of a slight down period because they're still the good teams are still kind of playing their cupcake matchups and stuff. But the games that we picked should be relatively decent. Gentlemen, we have one more thing to get through, and then we will be done with the episode. I wanted to throw a little bit of basketball in this episode. I wanted to, and this is actually a bracket that I had made before, so I expanded it a little bit just so we could have a bigger bracket we could go through. Gentlemen, these are NBA players all time, and these are nicknames. So we're going to go through, similarly how we did team-based nicknames before, we're going to go through NBA players, and we're going in a bracket format. We're going to pick just what our favorite nickname is, not necessarily the best or not necessarily like the most iconic, just what our favorite as a collective is.
Okay.
So our first matchup, we have Magic for Magic Johnson or Irvin Magic Johnson versus Big O for Oscar Robertson.
I gotta go Magic.
Yeah, but that, to me, that's just his name versus like the Big O is a nickname. I know it's not. It's the same thing with fucking Tiger Woods, man. Tiger is technically a nickname. His name is Eldrick.
Yeah.
I know it has to be Magic, but
it's gotta be. Big O's boring. I know. I think Big O's just kind of boring, anyways.
I think it's kind of funny, but
yeah. Okay. So this next matchup, I will say, I did think about it. It's like more of a period of time than it is the name for the person themselves, but I just had to include it just because the period of time is great. Lynn Sanity for Jeremy Lin versus Diesel for Shaq. What do we think?
But I like Diesel better. I think Lynn Sanity's iconic.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I wanted to give Lynn Sanity more of a mention, even though it's not necessarily like a nickname.
Yeah.
It's kind of more of a time period than it is a nickname. So I'd be fine with going Diesel here just because it's more of an actual nickname.
Dude, that and I kind of have to agree with you, like nickname wise. But the 2-week Linsanity run was one of the most electric times, like in sports.
Do you think Sports Center has ever had higher viewership than like during
Than
Linsanity.
Linsanity,
Like
yeah.
I remember like being in school, like waking up every morning to see what Jeremy Lin did the night before. Like I have
Yeah.
vivid memories of, like tuning in to see what Jeremy Lin did.
Crazy.
Like,
And
That's so
like
crazy.
he turned in to be like a pretty decent role player. Like
Yeah,
he's,
100%, yeah.
even
He's a solid
after
NBA
that,
player.
he had like for like a decade. It seems like he's been in
Charlotte
the league.
Charlotte Hornets legend.
Dude, remember he waved off Kobe. He said, "Get out! I'm taking the shot."
I'm
when he
him.
was in LA, but
I'm
yeah,
him.
I'm him. He waved off Carmelo multiple times.
We don't blame him for that.
Yeah, for real. Next, we have Pistol Pete Maravich, the nickname being Pistol, versus Rain Man for Sean Kemp. I feel like this is more iconic.
I never got the Rain Man.
Sean Kemp, yeah. Pistol Pete is iconic. I think that's a great nickname.
I agree. I would.
Do you have a reason why Sean Kemp is named Rain Man?
I don't. No, I don't. I
assume
remember.
It's because he made it rain with making
After
a lot
the
of
Supersonics
buckets.
announcer, Kevin saw a poster with the name and thought it fitting to add it to his radio broadcast.
So it was just an announcer call.
Really lame. Super lame.
Hey, and Pistol Pete, Oklahoma State. So I gotta go with Pistol Pete Maravich there.
No, everyone's like, no, it's kind of bad.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. These are actually like both of these in this next matchup. Agent Zero for Gilbert Arenas.
It's a great one.
Versus the Glove for Gary Payton. They're
This
both
is a
really good. I like
good
both of
matchup.
those.
Both of them.
Agent Zero's
should be
kind of
moving
hard.
on.
Yeah.
Agent Zero's kind of hard.
I would take both of these over a lot of the ones that we've already gone through.
Yeah.
Hey, ChatGPT did the seeding again. That's how I do it. I put in all the entries and then it does the seeding because I don't really have a neutral way to do the seeding. I go Agent Zero. Oh God, but it's Gary Payton.
Glove,
like that's
dude,
what
the Glove.
Dude, this is hard. But Agent Zero, I think, is a better nickname.
I disagree. I think the Glove is a better nickname because they're just kind of going off his jersey number. I think it's more creative, like to his play style, more than just like Agent Zero is tough as fuck, right? But
it's tough. Yeah.
But like to me, like if you're telling me I'm playing a guy nicknamed Agent Zero, I'm like, all right, like that's kind of cool. But like if you tell me I have to like be guarded by the Glove, I'm like, hold up, like this guy's about to cook me. Like I'm gonna get cooked. Yeah. So no, I would also agree. I think it's the Glove.
It's fine to me. I'm gonna issue that.
Tough loss for Gilbert Arenas though, round one.
Next we have Black Mamba for Kobe Bryant versus Chef for Steph Curry. So Chef Curry. It's gotta be Black Mamba, right? Like
I think
Chef Curry's fun.
Yeah,
but it's.
But also like people don't call Steph Chef. He's Steph. Like I don't like people aren't like, oh, Chef had a great game last night. You say Steph had a great game.
Yeah,
like I feel like the Black Mamba is a little bit more synonymous with Kobe.
I agree. I go Black Mamba here. Next we have the big ticket Kevin Garnett versus the mailman for Karl Malone.
I gotta go KG because Malone's kind of a predator.
I was thinking the same thing. We have to draw a line in the sand somewhere.
Yeah.
Next, we got the Greek Freak for Giannis and the Admiral for David Robinson.
Oh. I really do like the Greek Freak. I think that one's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It is.
And very fitting. Very fitting for Giannis.
Yeah. No,
he is an actual freak of nature.
Next, we have the Matrix for Sean Marion versus Dr. J for Julius Erving.
I go Dr. J.
I don't know why that one just like tickles my brain.
No, it's I like it.
It's something about like his play style also that is just like he's just so like smooth and like cunning with the way that he played. I don't know. I just
he's
like
surgical, like a doctor.
Yeah. That's what.
Xavier Worthy touchdown, by the way.
Let's go. First, did you see the group me that Spencer put money on first touchdown Derrick Henry?
Yep. Good for him. I'm happy for him.
Next we have Air Jordan for Michael Jordan versus Clyde the Glide, Clyde Drexler.
It's just Jordan. It's really not really close, unfortunately.
Oh, this one. Damn it. This one's good too. Slim Reaper for Kevin Durant versus Chocolate Thunder for Daryl Dawkins, which is also a really good nickname.
I gotta go KD, I think.
Yeah, this one.
I think Slim Reaper is sick.
Yeah.
I would agree. I like Slim Reaper more too. We have Hakeem the Dream for Hakeem Olajuwon versus The Truth for Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is a bum. Move on, Hakeem the Dream.
Paul Pierce shit himself.
Next we have The Worm for Dennis Rodman, which I feel like is kind of funny just because it kind of fits like
That's a Dennis Rodman nickname.
Versus The Answer for Allen Iverson.
The answer is tough. The answer is
tough. It's kind of tough.
But like people didn't call him that as much as they called him just AI.
Yeah,
I would agree.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Like how many people call Dennis Rodman The Worm? Like no one.
I've actually can say I've never heard him called that before this podcast, so I'm gonna have to go with AI on this one, as I'm calling him by a different nickname.
Next, we have Round Mound of Rebound, Charles Barkley, or the logo, Jerry West.
I love the Round Mound of Rebound.
I
like the logo. The logo's tough, dude. He's the logo.
Okay, but okay. Here's a thing for you though. You couldn't call him that when he was playing.
True.
Like he wasn't out there, and you're like, it's the logo. Because
there was another nickname I saw for him.
That sells it for me right there. What was his other one?
There was another one he had. It wasn't as good as the logo, but it was something else. I can't remember what it was. But I was like, the logo was the better one out of the two, so that's why I put it in there. Next, we have Human Highlight Film for Dominique Wilkins versus King James for LeBron James.
King James is iconic. Like as much as you want to hate on LeBron, like
I do like Human Highlight Film though.
Yeah,
that's a good.
Nice.
I think that's
nice.
a good nickname too.
No.
But yeah, it's probably got to be King James. Next, we have White Chocolate, Jason Williams versus Birdman for Chris Anderson.
Oh, you put the white guys together? Okay, all right.
Nope, ChatGPT put the white guys together.
White Chocolate is better to me than Birdman. I
would probably agree. Last matchup of the first round, we have the big fundamental Tim Duncan versus Iceman George Gervin. Dude, Iceman, like that's hard.
It's like the guy. It's like the guy in Top Gun, bro.
Dude, real. I gotta go with Iceman. I think that's like one of the best ones. No,
I like Iceman. I do.
You don't like Iceman? Okay. All right, we'll move on. Iceman. Second round here. Moving through it. What?
I just watched like the Xavier Worthy end around, and the caption is that they let Pat Mahomes get the fastest man in football, and he just runs by fucking everybody.
That combo is going to be gross. Next, we have Magic versus Diesel.
Magic.
Yeah, I agree.
That's got to be Magic. We got Pistol Pete Maravich versus the Glove.
Fuck.
So good, man. The Glove is so good.
Ooh,
I'm gonna throw out my vote for the Glove.
I'm pretty impartial, Ryan, so I'll leave it up to you.
I think Connor, you're probably going to Pistol Pete. I think I'm gonna go with the Glove.
No, that's fine.
I think the Glove is probably like top.
Yeah.
I don't know, one of the best nicknames of all time.
Fair. Next we have Black Mamba versus the Big Ticket for KG.
Mamba.
Yeah, I agree. Next we have this one's good. This one's gonna make Ryan upset. The Greek Freak versus Dr. J.
Ooh. Just two extremely fitting nicknames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of do. I'm with Ryan. There's something about Dr. J. Like it just makes a ton of sense for him as a player. Like I think I go Dr. J here to be honest. Even though the Greek Freak's really good.
I would agree.
We have Air. This one's good. Air Jordan versus Slim Reaper. Dude, Slim Reaper's hard.
I like Slim Reaper better than Air Jordan. I really do. I really like Slim Reaper better.
All right, we'll go Slim Reaper.
Yeah.
Next we've got Hakeem the Dream versus The Answer.
The Dream.
I was gonna go The Answer. I just not is not as synonymous with AI. I get it.
I'm with Ryan. I got to go with Hakeem the Dream because he has a move named after his nickname.
That's fair.
The Dream Shake is named after his nickname.
I'll give you that.
So,
and that was the only other nickname he was known by. Of like, you have another nickname that more casual fans would like equate you to. Just AI. Like, you're splitting time. You're splitting votes.
You're not going all in. You're not going all in.
Correct.
Next, we have the round mound of rebound versus King James. The round mound of rebound is like more fun.
Mound.
Yeah, it's so
It's more fun.
It's so good.
More fun. Next, we have. Oh, damn it! We have white chocolate versus Iceman. This one sucks for me.
I love white chocolate. I think that's a great name.
I also wouldn't have known who Iceman was if you hadn't told me, Connor. I know who white chocolate is.
Damn it! I love Iceman. All right, we'll move on. White chocolate. Next, we have Magic versus the Glove.
Fuck.
We knew it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Do we? God, I was gonna say, do we kick out Magic because like that? He's so synonymous with his name, but like that isn't that what a good nickname is? Is that like that's his name now, basically, because the nickname?
Yeah,
was
it is
so
his
good.
name. That's how they like if he's on TV, it's Magic Johnson. Like
Magic
nobody
Johnson.
knows what his first name is.
But I was gonna say, what dude? He didn't get called like Magic was like his nickname given to him growing up, right? Like he didn't get that nickname because of playing basketball. I could be wrong.
By the way, that was Xavier Worthy's first NFL touch. They housed.
Yeah, they threw it to Rice twice and then like scored on that.
Apparently, Johnson was first dubbed Magic at 15 when he recorded a triple-double of 36 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists as a sophomore in high school. So I guess high school nickname.
I guess to me, like most people would just think that's like his name because he does just go by Magic Johnson. It's not really like it's almost not become a nickname because that's just like his name.
I would be okay moving.
All right.
What?
All right.
I would be.
Is this thing on?
What? I'd be okay moving on the Glove just so like because Magic is kind of skewed. I do understand how it could be like kind of skewed because it's kind of like his name basically. So let's move on the Glove just for fun, just for fun's sake. Next we have Black Mamba versus Dr. J.
Well, these are hard.
These are really hard.
This is a fucking huge list too.
Yeah, I'm almost done. 32.
I really like Dr. J.
I was also going to go Dr. J, yeah.
Yeah, let's run it. Slim. Ooh, this one's good. Slim Reaper versus Hakeem the Dream.
Slim
80.
Slim Reaper.
Slim.
We got Slim Reaper fans in here.
Absolute meat writings.
Y'all are going to struggle with this one. Round mound of rebound versus white chocolate.
Come on, Chuck. Come to the semifinals.
Yep.
Really?
I will give white chocolate's easier to say, but round mound of rebound is just funny.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. We are into our final four, our first matchup of the final four, the Glove versus Dr. J.
I don't know if I can pick.
I gotta go Dr. J.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I'll go with
even though the Glove, I'm thrilled the Glove made it to the final four. But
agreed.
I gotta go Dr. J. Next we have Slim Reaper versus Round Mound of Rebound.
I'm gonna go Slim Reaper. I'm gonna do it.
right.
I'm gonna do it.
This is a hard final four.
It's this hard. Ryan, where are you leaning? Wait, Rob, you said Slim Reaper?
Yep. Just go round mound and make Connor pick.
I think round mound's funnier.
I think I go Slim Reaper. I think that is pretty smooth. Even the only reason that I guess I would argue against Slim Reaper is because it's like less synonymous with him than I feel.
I mean, similar to the AI thing, like he's KD is like his name.
Yeah, kind of. I do think Slim Reaper's probably better though. I'm gonna go there. In the finals, we have Dr. J versus Slim Reaper. I'm going Dr. J. I think Dr. J is probably the best nickname ever.
I would agree because like it is his only nickname, but you still know him as Julius Erving. Like
yeah.
It's a perfect nickname to where like you know exactly who it is, but he still has his own like independent name.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, awesome. So our winner of the best NBA nickname ever is Dr. J. Julius Erving. So yeah, that is it, gentlemen. That is it for this episode and this podcast. Who would like to sign us out?
I got it. For myself, Ryan and Connor, thank you for listening to another great episode. We will be back next week to review some more football. I guess we'll talk about baseball again because it is still going on, I guess.
Yikes.
But enjoy a weekend packed full of football, and please gamble responsibly.
Go Pokes.
See ya.